Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome. So today I want to talk about a weird topic. I want to talk about the channel art on my YouTube channel and how it relates to you. I changed my channel art maybe 6 or 7 months ago, maybe 5 months ago, I don't know exactly, to kind of get across my message. And, you know, it might be a little bit confusing what my message is because I talk a lot about e-commerce. That's not really the heart of what I believe in, the message that I want to spread. And if you take a look at it, I'll just pop it on the screen right now. Kind of the tagline or the mission statement or the main focus of that is obviously it says Madcam Publishing, but right underneath that it says Discover Your Change. And that's what I want to talk about today. What is Discover Your Change? I think it's very important for everyone to get out there and discover what it is that they're meant to do, what it is that they're supposed to do, what it is that's going to make them happy. And this kind of all started probably about 7 or 8 years ago for me when I was living out in Portland, Oregon. And you know, that was long before, or not long before, but in the grand scheme of things, in the time frame of the speed of which things move now, you know, that was before, you know, Amazon really asserted themselves and kind of laid down the blueprint for and the path and the mission for, you know, for world domination, along with, you know, Google and Facebook and so on and so forth. And this was long before the narrative really started to ramp up about, you know, automation taking our jobs, the fact that, yeah, Amazon might be creating 100,000 jobs over the course of X number of years, but they'll probably kill 300,000. This was long before Tesla released their autonomous semi-truck. That'll jeopardize the jobs of 3.5 million truckers in the United States. You know, and of course there's, you know, last mile, but I don't want to talk about that right now. The bottom line is we all know that as automation increases, we get smarter with artificial intelligence. Jobs are going to disappear. You know, with all the apps and the software, are we going to need a payroll department? Probably not. Are we going to need accountants? Probably not. And the bottom line is, yeah, not every profession is going to disappear, but every profession is going to be decreased by a factor of 10, if not more. And so back to when I was living out in Portland, Oregon, you know, this was 2008 to 2012 is when I lived there. And what I really started to see is kind of the birth or the acceleration of the birth of the artisan. And this was people who were passionate about what they were doing. They were doing one skill and they were doing it very well, whether they were opening a bakery and making cupcakes, whether they were making purses out of cowhide, you know, whatever it is that they were doing, they were basically focusing on one skill, their passion, and doing it very well. And that kind of, to me, looked like reverting back to you know, simpler times, the olden days, you know, the 1800s, whatever you want to call it. You did your one thing and you traded it for other things. In this day and age, you know, we do our one thing, we sell it for money, and we take that money and do whatever we want with it. But I guess the point I'm trying to get at is I think the writing's on the wall, and that's the only way that we're going to survive, or at least get any sort of creature comforts, or give ourselves an advantage over other people who are going to have to rely on some sort of universal basic income. And you have to do one thing. You have to do it very well. You have to increase your worth to society. You have to then sell that skill or that commodity that you're creating or whatever in order to get the things that you want. And that's what got me so excited about drop shipping. And because I think it's very obvious that everything in the future is going online. You know, we are in such the early stages of the internet. You know, I don't even think we can begin to fathom where this is going to go, but it's not going to be a part of our lives. Speaking of the internet, is going to be the fabric of our lives. It's going to be the medium in which we move around. And yeah, we'll still take travel vacations. Yeah, we'll still go from point A to point B. But really, a majority of our interactions and our movement will be through the internet. And this is not 500 years down the road. This is not even 50 years down the road. You know, this is probably realistically 10 to 15 years down the road. And it's only going to advance from there. So back to the point I'm getting at is, you know, all commerce, all business, all trade, everything's going to be moving online for the most part. So that's what got me so excited about the e-commerce, the drop shipping model, is because for the first time that I have seen in the history of the internet, truly the masses believed that they could become a part of this movement. When I started in 2012, I knew I was going to have to learn a lot of things that I was very uncomfortable with, and I was going to have to do a lot of things that I had no idea how to do, and I knew it was going to be a process. Whether I wanted to start a blog, whether I wanted to start a business, whether I wanted to start a YouTube channel, whatever. I knew I was going to have to go outside my comfort zone. There was no excuse that I wasn't a very good writer. There was no excuse that I'm really not going to be that good on camera. I'm not the most eloquent speaker or something like that. But I knew I didn't have a choice, so I just went out there and I did it. But that fear holds a lot of people back. So once again, back to the e-commerce dropshipping model, it was the first time in history that people, the everyday Joe, thought to himself, hey, I can do this. I don't have to put myself out there. I don't have to have a lot of money for investing in starting a business. I don't have to have this great idea for a product. I can just take what's out there and make it work to my advantage. And whether or not you're going to find success on dropshipping or e-commerce or YouTube or blogging or starting a business or whatever it is that you're doing, ultimately down the road, it's not going to matter. The reason I got so excited about e-commerce and dropshipping and Shopify and AliExpress and all that stuff that's so hot right now is because it really empowered people to take that first step who maybe otherwise wouldn't. They would just sit in their same crappy, boring job, wondering what they're going to do for the rest of their life. And, my first dollar I ever made online, this is a true story, in 2012, my first dollar I ever made online was spamming Craigslist. Okay, it wasn't the best way to make money. It wasn't scalable by any means. I quit it very quickly. The method I used, which I'm going to tell you, is no longer valid. It no longer works. But the point is I was a server with a newborn baby, living in San Diego with high rent and a wife who was going to be a stay-at-home mom. So I didn't have any extra money to go out and invest. I didn't have any extra money to start a business. I didn't have money to risk. I didn't even feel like I had $10 a month to risk. Now, I probably did, but I didn't feel like I had that extra money to invest in starting a blog. So I had to go out and find a free way to start generating income. So what I did is I discovered in Craigslist that, they have a bunch of different sections, free stuff, job searches, apartments, but they had this gigs section. Now, at that time in 2012, this gigs section was a little bit different than some of the other sections. So if you're a company and you placed a job offer on Craigslist, some cities were free, some cities were charging at this point. But what happened is when you responded to that job offer as an applicant, it went through the Craigslist email relay or what have you. So it coded it. I don't know if it was for protection of email or whatever, but if you responded to a Craigslist post in a job offer, it went to the Craigslist email exchange, and then Craigslist essentially sent an email to the company that was doing the hiring or whatever else. It didn't matter what section it was, with the exception of the gig section. And the gig section was basically you hire someone, hey, I need my yard cleaned up for $20. But the thing is there was no exchange. So if someone responded to a gig with their email address, it went directly to the person who posted the gig. So from there, I saw an opportunity to use Google's or Gmail's vacation responder to send an email back. That wouldn't work if it came through an exchange, but if it was a direct email, you've probably seen these like away messages, like you set this if you're going out of town for a week, that way your clients know what happened, and someone sends you an email and it says, hey, shoot some back an automated response. I'll be out of town for, the 6th through the 10th. So I'll get back to you, so on and so forth. If you're in an emergency, give me a call here or whatever. Okay. So I found this opportunity to have an automated response, basically something that could work while I was asleep, something that could work for me while I wasn't there. I was no longer trading my time directly for money, and that was the first key for me. So I went over to ClickBank, which is, they sell e-products, and I found a product that was learn how to score freelance writing gigs, and it was like $40 or whatever. So what I did is I got the link for that, and I decided that I was going to promote this ClickBank, how to get writing gigs project. So I went and I set up a Gmail account, and I named it something official. I don't even remember what it was. And I turned on the vacation autoresponder. And what I did is I basically put my sales letter in that vacation autoresponder. I created this, here's what you need to know if you want to get a jump start and learn, the skills that you need to land these freelance writing gigs. Go here. And I posted my affiliate link to this how to get writing gigs, ClickBank product. So I would set this up, and as the vacation autoresponder, I would use that email to post gigs in the writing gigs in the Craigslist gigs section. Basically, hey, we're looking for people to who are freelance writers who want jobs and stuff like that. So I would post these, and they would respond to this, and the vacation autoresponder would send a message back, and this would just keep going 24 hours a day. And I would double down. I would create another email address and do this over and over and over again. And it wasn't a lot of money, and it's not my most proud moment, but basically I took the tools that I had and I got started. Well, I made like $100 or a couple $100 or whatever it was, and then I immediately took that money and I invested it into something that I had more control over and that I could grow further, because I knew I could never grow that to any sort of notable income because of the Craigslist spam. It was a pain in the butt, took forever to get around these things. You have to repost all the time, so on and so forth. So I took that money, I reinvested, I bought hosting, I bought a domain name, and I started a blog. And this was a product review blog using Amazon Associates affiliate program. But what happened is this taught me skills. This taught me SEO. This taught me how to get pages ranked. This taught me how to write sales copy. This taught me how to write great product reviews that sold. This taught me how to network with other bloggers. And things kept just progressing from there. So basically, every time something would be successful and I felt like it was kind of topping out, I would then go ahead and roll over into the next venture, And finally, in 2016, I was able to quit my job. Last year, 2017, was my first year completely on my own. And things are, just continuing to grow. This is never a situation. I mean, maybe some people find this, but for me, definitely, it was not a situation where I went from broke to $1 million a year. It's just a slow step-by-step progression. I have not seen that explosive growth yet. But that's my change, and that's okay. I don't have 12 hours a day to devote to growing my business. I mean, I have more time now, but when I first got started, I was working 50, 60 hours a week in the restaurant. I had a newborn. I was busy. So I didn't have full-time effort to put towards growing my online business in the first 3 or 4 years. Yeah, I do it full-time now, but the point is, I didn't have the full-time effort to put forth, so I wasn't going to become a millionaire in a year and a half like some of these 20-year-olds who, don't have as much responsibility, aren't already trapped in a situation where they need to make X amount of dollars. They can afford to take more risk and therefore get a reward more quickly, and that's fine for them. This happened to be my change, and the thing is every time I find myself competing with someone else who's not in my current situation, or striving to be exactly like someone who is in a similar situation, I guess I should say, that's when I always find myself struggling and not moving forward. It's when I go back to who I am, my capabilities. I focus on my singular set of skills, what I'm best at, not trying to be what other people are doing, or not trying to be what I think can make the most amount of money. When I go back to my singular set of skills, what I'm good at within the time that I have, while still holding on to what's important to me, making sure I have time for my family, making sure that we have time to relax, get away for vacations. That's when I find the most success. But it all comes down to getting started. If I didn't get started back in 2012, I wouldn't be where I am here, today. So even if you're finding trouble with whatever it is that you're doing right now, blogging, YouTube, e-commerce, dropshipping, whatever it is that you're doing, understand that this is just the beginning. You got started. You are learning skills that you can roll over into the next venture, or that you can use to improve your current situation. So, the way I put it is sometimes it's like riding a bike. When you're riding down a hill on a bike, you have momentum, and if you pedal faster, you get going even faster, and you can really take advantage of that momentum. And then if it goes down, eventually you're going to have to go up again as well. It's just the way nature works. And if you're going up that hill and things are going, you can kind of keep moving forward. But what happens is if you're on a bike and you're going up a hill and you hit that complete stop, it doesn't matter how much effort you put into it, doesn't matter how hard you try to pump your legs, you're probably not going to go any further. So what you have to do is you have to get off your bike, go back down the hill, and get a little more momentum, and that way you can make it over that hill. And sometimes you need to do that, and whether that's starting a second blog, or starting a second YouTube channel, or starting a second e-commerce store with the skills that you now have. Sometimes you just need to take a step back and try a different approach. Sometimes you just need to get off your bike and walk it, try not to move as fast. But the answer is never giving up, because you don't know where you're going to end up. If you're doing drop shipping right now, you might think, I'm going to make it as a drop shipper, or die trying. And maybe that's not the answer. You just learned a set of skills. Maybe in your drop shipping endeavor, you learned how to run Facebook ads. So maybe your kind of skill, or maybe your place in life, is to be running Facebook ads for other people. Or maybe it's to start a business where you're actually creating a physical product in your garage, or what have you. But then once you create this product, you don't just have some great product that you can't tell anybody about. You have this great product, but you also have the skills necessary to start running Facebook ads to get traffic to your website, or what have you. And I don't know what the answer is for you. It might be drop shipping, it might be starting a blog, it might be starting a YouTube channel. But that's what I mean by you have to go out there and you have to discover your change, because you're only going to end up where you're supposed to end up. But you can put yourself in a better position by actually putting forth some effort, and that's really the key here. Another kind of point that I like to make about my history and my progression over the years of all the different things that I've tried, spamming, blogging, SEO, e-commerce, dropshipping, YouTube, creating courses, everything that I've ever done. I've made money with everything I've done, and it's just through trial and error and determination and willingness to put forth the effort. I only quit something when I realized that it's either dying or it's not scalable past a certain point. And that's when I move on to the next thing. So in a sense, I have shiny object syndrome, but the bottom line is I've made everything work, including when I tried to spam Craigslist just to make a few bucks to get started. So I've made everything work. I've managed to make money every single way I've tried. It's not because I'm special. It's just because it's possible. Everything you're ever going to try online, as long as you're not trying to take a shortcut and expect something automated and instant, you can make money online. And then you just got to decide if that's enough money, or if you want to double down, try something else and scale. So I hope, at least a couple people enjoyed this video. I appreciate it if you subscribe to the channel. If you made it this far in the video, thank you for watching. I do appreciate it. And just remember that the point is you don't have a choice. You have to go out there and you have to start helping yourself, doing something for yourself. And I want you to go out there and I want to discover your change, discover what's right for you, and have a great day. See ya.